Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I am telling you to run the script. So I'm not a programmer, and so scripting and scripts mean something different to someone who understands computer languages. So I'm not talking about like running a script and like that sort of gaming kind of thing. I'm talking about scripting as in being a thespian, being an actor, knowing what you're saying, generally speaking, because knowing what you're saying is incredibly important to so much of what we do as personalities, as salespeople, as business owners. And so that's what I want to talk about today. What kinds of scripts are there? There are sales scripts, there's presentations, there's, let's start with, while creating content. All right. So when you're creating content, you need to understand that it's not just content creation. You're actually trying to do community creation, trying to build your community. You're trying to grow your following. And one of the best ways to do that is by having easy, repeatable little catchphrases, little slogans, memes, if you will, that you say here and there. And then it needles or wheedles its way into the mind of your audience. And before they know it, they're saying the same thing. And I actually had somebody, I have a fan who let me know that my little thing at the end of every episode I do, right? Don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur. He said, or he told me at least, that he's found himself saying that during his own live streams. And so like, hey, yes, rock on. Like it's working a little bit, right? That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have little catchphrases, little slogans, little, things that you say here and there. And part of this is psychological. You want people to feel like they're part of your community. And any community, whether it's big or small, real life or virtual, or a large corporation or small business, needs to understand that no matter the type of community or tribe that you're building, there has to be an in-group and there has to be an out-group. There has to be a group that's not part of your collective. And that allows your in-group to have kind of little things that make them know each other, right? They're little signs that they can tell, oh, you're one of us, okay? So if you look at like American politics on the Republican side, you got MAGA, right? Make America Great Again. But there's other things that they say like deep state and fake news and what's the one, something about the election being stolen, right? Like, if you don't know these particular things off the top of your head every single second, you're outed yourself as not part of the in-group. And so I don't care about politics. I don't have any interest in knowing about politics. So I'm out. I'm so far outside I couldn't care. All right. But take it for yourself. Like take that lesson to heart. Your business, your content needs to have these things as well. That way, when people are doing something and it relates to the thing that you are doing in your content, and they'll think of the catchphrase, they'll say the catchphrase themselves, or it'll wheedle it way into the lexicon of what they're doing. All right. So you need to make sure you have scripted out in advance things that you're saying. Now, another type of script that you can do is a sales script. So if you're trying to make or earn money in some way, the only people who make money are mints. So we earn money, everybody else. If you're trying to earn money, you generally have to sell somebody something, whether that's you or some product, a service, something, right? You have to sell them. Now, think of it this way. You could go in, you could try to wing it, and every single time you talk to somebody new, it's an entirely different presentation. Some of those sales will hit, some of them won't, and then you're never really going to know what worked and what didn't because you never wrote down and figured out what did and used it moving forward. Just this morning, I was on a call with somebody out of Israel, and he was telling me one of the things that I have to do myself, he was telling me that I have to have a script when I'm approaching new businesses. And he was telling me why he uses a script. And he was telling me about how he created his script. And so he said when he would get on a call with somebody, he would actually have written out exactly what he would say. And he would sound like a robot while he was doing it. And then he would figure out what lines worked and what didn't. And the ones that didn't, he'd cross out and rewrite. But then he'd just keep doing this over and over again on call after call until he had a script where he knew every single sentence hit exactly how he wanted it to hit. And, I actually have a script myself. When I'm on a new call with somebody, everybody always asks, tell me a little bit about yourself, right? So I have a very specific story that I tell. It's my origin story. And, if if I'm on a podcast or if I'm on a phone call, or if I'm out in public and somebody says, oh, tell me a little bit about yourself. I go through the script the same way pretty much every single time. Sometimes I have to shorten it because, no one wants to sit there for half an hour listening to you. Sometimes you've got the floor, you got plenty of time. You just go for the half hour, right? But it's the same story told pretty much exactly the same way with the same jokes along the way. And you do this because it has the same punch. All right. So if you're in sales, if you're trying to earn money by convincing another human being to purchase something from you, think of the script that you're using. If you're just walking in like, man, I really hope these people like me today, and you don't have exactly what you're going to say already pre-planned, you're in trouble. They've been teaching script writing for hundreds of years when it comes to sales. This is not new stuff. Every business is going to grow by knowing in advance what they're going to say. Because if you go and you try to figure out in advance what you're going to say, you're going to start thinking of all the objections that someone's going to have when they want or when they have a question. Or if you've practiced it in this particular script enough times, you're going to know where people fall out so you can tighten it up, or what issues they're going to have so you can address them before they get to those issues. Script writing allows you to really just make life easier for yourself because you take the thinking out of having to do the selling. And if you can be just a robot that reads the script, right? It makes it easier for you because you don't even have to be there necessarily really in your head thinking about what am I going to say next. You just are going to say it because you've practiced it over and over and over again. That makes picking up the phone easier. That makes knocking on the door easier and talking to people easier because you don't need to think about what needs to be said. It's already just there. And obviously, if you're going to do some sort of presentation of any type, you should probably know what you're going to say. If you're invited to speak on stage in front of 100, 1,000, 10,000 people, don't wing it. Please don't wing that. You want to have that pre-written. You want to have that, you won't need to know exactly what you're going to say. You need to practice in front of a mirror because you're going to see what your face looks like while you're talking, right? If you look like, you're just doing my speech and your eyebrows don't move and your eyes are dead inside, that's going to come across when you're giving the real presentation. Either that or you're going to look terrified. Hey there, everybody. My name is Bradford Carlton. And I'm here to you need to practice in a way that allows you to get comfortable doing the presentation. All right. One method that freaks me out every time, I prefer the mirror method. I like talking in the mirror because I get to see my face. The one that freaks me out personally is when I get recorded. And even if I've been practicing in front of the mirror, I'll get recorded. And something about having the camera on me while I'm doing this presentation is just, it makes it tough. And then I have to watch myself. It's really funny. I have done something like maybe 400 episodes, 300 plus episodes, over 400 episodes. It's got to be 400 at this point of the Gamerpreneur. And I have not watched one of them. I've not watched one episode of my own show. I cannot stand listening to myself talk that much. Could I learn something from it? Yes. Should I take my own advice and go back and watch these things? Yeah, I probably should. If you can't play coach, right? So take it from me, a person who trains people how to do this stuff. You should know what you're going to say. You should know in advance where you're going to pause, when you need to make the right inflection. You got to put the right emphasis on the correct syllable, right? If you don't do that, then it comes across weird and janky and people are going to laugh at you and then you're going to hear them laughing and then you're going to freak out and all of a sudden the whole thing's gone downhill because you forgot what you're supposed to talk about and you're hyperventilating on stage, and it's not like that's ever happened to me or anything. Okay, so that's what I got for you all today. Obviously, I want to remind you all, organization is the enemy of sloth. This whole episode has been about the fact that you need to be more organized in how you approach your presentation, approach your content, and approach the sales that you and your business are making. Because too many people out there are just winging it. And winging it is a great way to fall flat on your face because baby birds do not fly the first time they fall out of the nest. They hit the ground. And you don't want to be winging it the first time out. You want to have practiced in advance how you're doing this. That way you can soar like the eagle that you are. Oh, isn't the poetry fantastic here? So be organized, get yourself into shape, and then you'll do fantastic. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.